Welcome back to the 13th Destiny podcast with Magnum. I am your host, James Magnum Cook. And, well, I am traveling back from San Diego, California, back to Kentucky, to my headquarters, of course, and my hometown. If I'm sounding a little different tonight, it's probably because, well, I found out earlier today, after stopping in Tucson, Arizona last night after driving from San Diego, making a couple of small stops, and deciding to stop in Tucson to both stay the night and seek out a chiropractor to find out if it were my shoulder or if it really was my ribs. And wasn't 100% sure. Now, if you know anything about anatomy, there's an area in the back of the shoulder blade area that has an attachment to the ribs that can cause problems with the ribs as well. So anyway, one of the reasons I may be a little in and out is because I've made it really good and I've done a lot of stuff, but I've been in and out of the car because I haven't stayed in the car for hours on end, because it does begin to be a little more painful the longer I stay in the car. But when I'm standing up or walking around, I'm pretty good. The most trouble I have, however, is trying to sleep at night. And I am having to take some anti-inflammatory over-the-counter medications for that. And of course, there's really nothing I can do. The most shocking thing of this all is that this young woman who probably weighs 120 pounds at the most was able to so easily fracture my rib. And I did find out from Nathan Chiropractic there in Tucson, Arizona, which ironically was just right there next to my hotel, so I didn't have to go too far, and they worked me in today. Big thanks out to them because I now know exactly what's going on. And like you said, and I know too, there's not a lot you can do about this. And you know, they used to do a lot of crazy things. As you do them today, wrapping the ribs and stuff like that, it just causes even more problems because you can't breathe normally. So just trying to keep the inflammation down and dealing with it. It's not extremely painful like it was to start with, but certainly that pop and her jumping back from the table says a lot. And I'm still surprised. I mean, still shocked. But anyway, I continued onward and on my journeys today. And as I said, I got out and done some things. And if I could get the pronunciation right of this Fort Huachuca, I believe is how you pronounce it, in Arizona, which that was the first one of the places I went today. I was just driving along, and it's not too far from Tombstone, Arizona, but I had not seen it and paid attention the last couple of times I drove across, and I just saw this historic thing, and thought it was just strictly there is historical stuff there, don't get me wrong, but if you visit this place, here's the thing I didn't know. And Fort Huachuca, I believe, again, is how you pronounce that, is in Arizona, not too far from Tombstone. And if I got the pronunciation wrong, I tried to check some video and some other stuff. So I tried to get it to the best I could. Hopefully I got that correct. If not, someone can let me know from the military or otherwise that knows the pronunciation. But I'm pretty sure I'm on top of it for the most part. It is there, and it's about 15 miles north of the Mexican border, which I also had to go through border patrol check on the way back, which a lot of times out here I went through several border checks. They're really, really easy, and the border patrol has been awesome. They've never given me a problem, been really cool, and I've been lucky, no issues, so appreciate that, and appreciate everything they do. Certainly always glad to tell them that too. Anyway, past that, so what I didn't know was I didn't realize it was an active military installation. I don't know how I did. The weird thing was that when I got ready to turn, when I got to the line, I was like, that looks more like, but can't be. And then as I drove up the street, I'm going, oh boy, here we go. We have a military checkpoint. So if you want to visit this place, you can visit it, by the way. It was real simple. I asked at the gate and told them what had happened, and that I would like to visit the museums. And he said, yeah, you can do that. He said, but you'll have to make a U-turn here and come over to the building and get checked in. I was checked in really, really easy. It wasn't a hard process. There might have been a little bit to that and everything. But even other people there, it seemed like it flowed pretty good. I mean, maybe I was on a lucky day. I don't know, but got it done in a very short period of time. It seems like it wasn't really even over 20 minutes total, everything. And went back out, got the base pass good for 30 days, went on the base, went to the museums. Was super cool. The Buffalo Soldiers actually were there at one point, and it was an amazing thing. And if you're interested in history or stuff with the military, as long as you can clear and everything and go on the base, it is a very nice. I mean, it's a very nice small museum. It's like 3 small museums, but they're very nice. For what they are. And the base has a lot of history. It has walking tours. It's got a very historical cemetery on it. I didn't get to see everything on the base today because I was doing some other stuff. I mainly just visited the museums and talked to some of the soldiers, like the ones at the gate and a couple others that were doing stuff that I was able to talk to. So it was pretty cool, and spent some time there. But certainly, if you were interested in visiting that fort, check that out. And like I said, it's about 15 miles north of the Mexican border, which is even more interesting considering the layout of the land and the terrain is so rough out there. But it's a very interesting thing to visit, and the base was nice. Everyone with the military was very, very nice today. Everyone I dealt with, from the processing to the security people, everybody was just wonderful, and I just want a big shout out to them because they were very helpful, very nice. And I think if you're doing everything like you're supposed to, I think they will be nice to you. So I told them exactly what I did, and everything worked out, and I got to go on the base, and it was cool. And it was cool to visit the museums. But if you're interested in that kind of stuff, check it out sometime. There's a lot of good history on this base, and I didn't even know this was here. And I'm someone that does a lot of history stuff and look at things and keep up with that kind of stuff, but maybe more so. Like I told them, I have a lot more connection from living in the South, thinking historical and them being like, Civil War, stuff like that. And they understood that, and it was cool. But hey, I learned something new today. And if you're interested in that, that's all you got to do. That's a pretty easy process. Go there, right there as you're going in. There's a place where you can pull to the right, which I didn't realize that at first because I went up trying to figure out how I'd got myself in this situation. But there's a processing building right to the right of where you're going to the gates. And again, everyone was super nice today, and I really appreciate that. That was awesome. So big shout out to the U.S. Army there. They were wonderful. So moving on. So I got that out of the way. That was one of the times I got out, walked around, tried to. Also, I drove over there because I'd also stopped at a gas station, and I had seen that historical, and that's the reason I drove 25 miles out of my way just to go on this. So, but I also wanted to get out, walk around, and do some things. So that's what I did. Let's see, what was the next thing I did today? I'm trying to remember where I went next. Oh, yeah. So I don't know if you've ever been out here, but it's so funny. So I just decided, I've seen this like several times, and if you've ever been out west or you've driven out here, you know what I'm talking about. I don't know how many who listen to the podcast might have been to this, but if you ever see these signs, I mean, their marketing is amazing. Go see the thing, what is it, and all these big billboards. So I've seen these several times, and I knew it was a tourist attraction thing. I knew it was, but I thought, what the heck, I'm just going to check it out. So for $5.31, it was well worth it. Okay, although the $5.31 threw me off, because when she said $5.31, I thought she meant that time, and I guess it was the way the tax, whatever, but it was so funny. And then I told her and we got a big laugh out of that. So anyway, but this thing is inside of a gas station, and it has a really interesting kind of this is an interesting concept. If you've never been there, I'll just say it's an interesting concept museum. She did say I could take as many pictures as I wanted to, whatever I wanted to do, and do whatever I wanted to. So I did take several pictures, and I posted some on Facebook with me, which was cool, and sent some that, I didn't post to other people, so did that. And, and it's inside of a gas station with a Dairy Queen. This is, it's a kind of a little rough getting off the I-10 there, but it's I got to admit, for $5.31, I had a pretty good time for $5.31. So it's worth the admission. I think if you have kids, I think your kids would even enjoy it even more. Just the whole aspect. I will tell you a little bit, because there are some billboards that tell you part of it, and it's kind of like aliens and dinosaurs. So I think a lot of your kids would really enjoy kind of doing that thing if you're ever through there. And I did see a few families. I was, ironically, when I went through, I was the only person going through. I was going by myself. I guess it's just like time of day that I come through after coming back from the fort and getting back on the interstate heading out of Arizona towards New Mexico. And so that was a lot of fun, I got to admit, and I think your kids would really have a big time. But remember, there is a gift shop there, and it is a tourist thing. So you just gotta take it with a grain of salt. That we all know those things are set up for that. But I will give them credit. It was fun. The parts for going through the museum and just walking through and seeing their exhibits and reading them, and just getting a kick out of their take on things and about aliens and dinosaurs and life itself. It's just pardon me if I breathe hard, because that rib does hurt from time to time when I breathe a certain way. But I'm not coughing, at least, because when I cough, it sucks, let me tell you. But if you have kids, or if you just enjoy having a good time, this is probably worth it for the cheap admission. And I'm not trying to downplay anything like that when I say low cost or cheap or something like that, because I just like to do things like that. And I go to museums a lot. I go to other places, parks, stuff, and a lot of these places sometimes are free admission, sometimes they're very low. So it's not to downplay, because some of the places are very interesting, just like this today. It was fun. It was interesting. And I will tell you, speaking about the fort, one of the things I didn't tell you about the fort is, once you're on the fort, the museums are free. They have gift shops, but the museums are free. You can go into all those museums. I totally forgot to tell you that. So those museums are free. It's once you have clearance from the military to be on the base. So as long as you don't have anything to keep you from being on the base, again, that was something I meant to tell you, and I'm sorry I forgot to tell you that on my last. But anyway, so this thing about the thing in the desert, it's fun, and it is a mix of aliens and dinosaurs and stuff like that. And so I will say that your kids would probably love this even more than I did. But I had fun with it, kind of posed in front of a dinosaur and kind of like I was scared, kind of stuff. So I had a good time with it. So it was fun. So I still have fun. So that's the way it goes. Okay, so then a little bit more adult stuff here. Not something I can't talk about to just anybody, but so if I did that, I got to set my show for explicit. We can't be doing that, right? So, well, I guess we could, but it depends on what the show was about. But I would set it, because certainly I'm sure that this being pretty much general, anybody can listen to it. So I would be respectful if I was going to do a show like that. I would set it for explicit, for only certain people could get access to it. That's just me. But I doubt we're ever going to do. Well, who knows? Depends on what the subject matter is, or who's the guest is. I don't know. It just all depends on that. I guess if we cross that bridge, when it ever comes to that. See, I'm just having a really good time, despite having a fractured rib. I've not been completely slowed down, and I'm having a good time. Now, I am hurting. Don't get me wrong. I'm hurting. I'm not hurting as bad as I was. And it's probably healing. It's going to be slow, and especially the fact that I'm in the car, and I got thousands of miles to go yet, including a stop in Texas to see my friends again. I mean, yeah, there's going to be some rough times and some rough days. But like today, when it got too rough, I decided to stop for the night. I'm actually 193 miles off of where I planned to be today for the stop for the night. So it's just that I changed it. I had to. I just said, I know that I can't push myself. There's a point, a lot of people from where I'm from believe that I don't know. It's like I can stay up forever, and I'm not invincible. I get hurt. I get sick. I do all these things just like any normal person. But sometimes I think some people, see all this stuff I do, and they talk about how they'd be exhausted from just half of what I do. I think it's just me, and part of it's adrenaline. Part of it, I have been somewhat hyper in my life. But as I got older, I used that to my advantage, not my disadvantage, from being able to work lots of hours and stuff like that. I think when you're a kid, sometimes it's a disadvantage because you no matter what you do, you just don't have all the resources to put that energy somewhere. And I either work or do other stuff to put it somewhere today. Am I still hyper? Yeah. Am I as hyper as I used to be? No. I mean, not on a normal basis. It's just not there. Age, time, all those things, all the injuries, various things, they take their toll. So you're still human. And I am human, okay? I'm not perfect, and I'm never going to be perfect in this life. So, you get what you see, you get what you deal with. You like me, you don't like me. That's just the way it is. Some people like me, some people don't like me, actually. I actually know that, and I'm okay with that. So, but anyway, I hope the people that listen to the show enjoy the show, and, we go from there. So like I said, so this is a little bit more adult. So I decided to stop at a vineyard, not too far from Wilcox, Arizona, which was the Coronado. I think that's right. I don't know. I don't have it with me. Vineyard and winery. Stopped in and got a couple of bottles of wine for friends of mine in Kentucky that drink wine. So taking it back to them. I occasionally drink wine, but very, very seldom. I mean, what I drink in a year, you'd almost consider me a complete non-drinker at this point, which pretty much most of my life I was. And I usually only drink wine and occasionally wine with a meal. And it's usually always somewhere where I don't have to go anywhere or do anything because I'm not that type of person either. I've just never been into that. So, but anyway, I do like a small glass of wine from time to time. And I certainly have lots of friends that really enjoy wine. So, and these particular friends back in Kentucky, I got them a couple of bottles of real cool wine today at this winery because I thought they were cool. I thought it was interesting in a dry climate. They thought I had heard from one of them about the possibility of, and by the way, I apologize if, okay, I gotta slow down for just a minute. Okay, I'm having a little difficulty breathing on that just then. So see if I get too out of whack, that rib is kicking in. So got to slow it down just a little bit. So anyway, but I'm okay. Anyone listening, I'm okay. I will be okay. I have to sleep on my left side for the most part because my right side is still hurting pretty bad when I sleep on it. Or try to sleep on it. It's either on the back or on the side. So anyway, it was a really nice winery. And got them a couple of cute bottles that had like these dogs on them that which I thought was interesting because of the one person who been good friends with me for a while now. His dog looks very similar to the dog on the bottle of wine, so I thought that was neat. So taking that back, I have certain really good friends that I will do stuff for like that because they'll do stuff for me or have done stuff for me. If you really know me really well, and we have that kind of friendship, I have a lot of friends, but I have like a small group that's really close, and it's that small group that if I really needed something outside of my family, that if they could help me, I know they would. And that's those types of friends are very small compared to someone saying, well, you have this large amount of friends. Well, maybe I do, maybe I don't. But I happen to know that the group that's the best group I have usually are the ones that are closest to me, that see things that most other people don't see, or know me in ways that other people don't know me, or have spent time with me either working or just being around me. A lot of you can be friends with me. It doesn't mean that, and that's not taking anything away because I have some friends I've never met, and then when I've met them, they've been awesome. That's just the Facebook world and the Twitter and everything else and all the other ones that we live in today. But I will say that of those ones that I hadn't met, when I have met them, they've been pretty much on the same level. Not quite as close as those friends, but they've proven themselves to be true friends. I think there's probably a few out there that might not really be as friendly and friends with me as I think they are, or they think they are. But prove your point, prove who you are, and if you do the right thing, we're friends forever. If you don't, well, that's on you, not me. Because I try, as these close friends I have in Kentucky will tell you, I'll do the same thing. If I can help you, I will. You can help me. It's a two-way street. But don't never take advantage of it. And that's something that should be good advice for anybody. Don't take advantage of it. And these particular friends that I'm talking about, they've never taken advantage of it. They've never taken advantage of that. And I will tell you right now, if you take advantage of my friendship, it'll end. And it'll end quickly. But that's another story for another time. I don't know. Maybe the pain and the painkillers are bringing out the other side of me. But, it's still me. And a big shout out to the digital people that called me today. Let me tell you, I was in some pain when they called. I thought it was a telemarketer. Didn't exactly go the way I meant for it to go. And unfortunately, it was somebody I had actually reached out to and actually really had. But it worked out in the end, and we had a nice little text chat, and everything worked out. But again, my apologies. That did not go the way it was supposed to when they called me when I was on the military base. But it all worked out in the end. I think I'm just fighting part of this with the pain and everything. But I've been worse. I've had worse pains. I've broken bones. I've been cut. I've been stabbed. I've been wrecks, you name it. I don't know. I think it takes me a day to sit down and make a whole list of all the crazy things that have happened to me in my life when it comes to injuries and surgery. I mean, just off the wall things. Some of them have been off the wall. But like my sister says, some of the things that happens to me you just can't make up because they're just that bizarre that you can tell they're real. Even though, it's like massage therapist. Fracturing my rib. Come on. The odds there are astronomical of how large those odds are. And again, you do hear me breathing kind of hard. So, because some people that know me really well know that my voice is cracking from time to time here, and it's not me. It's just from the breathing. But I felt like I wanted to come on and talk about the things that I did today and some of the fun I had. I had fun, even though I was hurting some during some of it, but I still had a good time. And I didn't let a fractured rib stop me. And if you're able to manage and you're able to deal with the pain and you're able to get out and do things, people. I do these things so I can tell you about them, but what I really want you to do is go out there and experience life and things for yourself. Anybody can live through the things that I do or say or experience, but my ultimate goal is if I tell you about something, when it's from traveling or it's about a paranormal guest or some place they've been, it's all for you to live your life and live your life as an adventure as I do. Because at the end of the day, here's something else I want to say. I had a very nice young lady in Arizona, and we had a nice little conversation. I'm not going to tell you where this is at, because she asked me not to give out her name or stuff like that on the podcast, because we had a nice little talk. I did say I would want to talk about this for just a few minutes on the podcast. She told me that she lived in a completely boring life because all I do is take care of my kids and go to work. And by the end of our conversation, I pointed out to her that not everything like that is as boring as you think it is. And when I got through explaining this, and I'll give you a little briefing of this, explaining how some people raise kids, work, and they think it's boring. And I pointed out, I said, you have kids, and every day there's something different with your kids, is there not? Is there? Some days they drive you crazy, some days you love, and by the time I got through dealing and telling her all these different things, and she's like, I never really thought about it like that. I never really thought of putting it into adventure terms. there are things I would like to do, but I do have to take care of them. But she said, you've just pointed out to me that my life is not as boring. And that you're right. Some people would really want to have that kind of life, or would have wanted to have had that kind of life and never got that chance. And I pointed it out to her, that some people that do things and have all these wild adventures and stuff like that, you might have never knew that deep down a long time ago, they probably just wanted to, get married, settle down, or at least be with someone and have those kids and live that kind of life. And everybody's destiny is different. But it doesn't mean that your life is boring. You have to find the adventure in everything that you do. And that's important. And when I got through talking with her, she was like, you've made my whole day better. She said, and I see things totally differently now. And I said, well, that's something else I try to do. I try to make people's days better when I can. And that's something left over from something my father taught me. Or my dad. I should say my dad. Because really, truly, my dad. But anyway, it's just these things that were ingrained in me. And part of what I do now. I get to do some things that I wouldn't have been able to do otherwise. And I'm thankful for the way things played out. And I'm thankful even when I'm having a bad day. Because a bad day to me is, my ribs fractured. But I'm still moving on. So I'm still having fun and still living my life. And everyone out there, live your life. And if you think your life is boring, stop and take a step back and look at it from a different point of view. Because some people who are living this very adventurous life that you see might have wanted to have the life you had. And it just wasn't in the cards or the destiny, as I say. Anyway, I made her day. I felt good about that. And so that's all that matters. So anyway, everyone have a great evening, morning, night, wherever you're at, whatever it is, wherever you are. Sorry, I'm having a little trouble with the breathing here going this long. But thank all of you for listening, and God bless all of you. And I'll be back soon. And hopefully this breathing will get better. Good night.